What I mean by ototoxic is if those drops enter the inner ear via the middle ear, for example, or even if they're intravenously administered to the patient, if they enter the inner ear, they can cause a permanent hearing loss. So when you've got a perforation or a hole in the eardrum, which my auntie has, she's got a grommet, so there's a hole entering the eardrum. Most topical ear antibiotics can enter the middle ear and potentially then cause a permanent hearing loss by entering the inner ear. So we don't want that. So ciprofloxacin, it is non-ototoxic, so it's very unlikely to lead to damage to the organ of hearing and or the hearing nerve, so the inner ear. And I recommended that my auntie be prescribed this topically, and she tilts her head over to one side, so her left ear is facing the ceiling, and so when she puts the drops in, it enters through the grommet directly into the middle ear. And you can actually see there, I've cleared a lot of the fluid out, but you can see that fluid is trying to come out again from the middle ear. It's almost like a squeezy bottle. So if you've got a squeezy bottle and if you tilt it upside down, you can feel that fluid wants to come out, and all it needs is a little squeeze and that fluid will start coming out. And that's what's going on here. And I'm trying to remove as much discharge as possible. Obviously, I can't put the suction probe through the grommet, so the closest I can go is to the entrance of the grommet. And what makes it difficult, there's three things actually. It's the entrance of the ear, that's really, really narrow. The ear canal significantly narrows as well. You can see there's a V shape there. The width is quite good, but where the grommet is, the ear canal just narrows just there. And the grommet is hiding behind the floor of the ear canal. So at the entrance of at the floor of the ear canal, should I say, near the eardrum, we have what we call an inferior recess. There's a little trench and basin there, and the grommet is located inside that inferior recess, which makes it physically difficult for me to position the suction probe at the entrance of the grommet without making contact with the floor of the ear canal. And the floor of the ear canal, in the inner 2/3, the bony part, is very sensitive. And fourthly, actually, I've got to be careful that I don't inadvertently push the grommet through the eardrum into the middle ear. So if I put too much pressure with the suction probe against the grommet, I could potentially push it through, which is the last thing we want. So this is her second appointment, but my patient, my auntie contacted me afterwards and advised she was prescribed oral antibiotics. And again, I can't tell the doctor to do so. I asked my auntie just to continue using the medication that's been recommended. I also, after the first appointment, recommended nasal decongestants, and I'll explain why that is now. So I'm going to, whilst you're watching me clear all this discharge, and all this discharge at night when my auntie was laying in bed and tilting her head over, this pus, this discharge is being ejected out of the middle ear through the grommet into the ear canal, and it was collecting on her pillow. So every morning it was staining. Even when my auntie arrived, you could see the outside part of her ear was all discharge and pus there. So bless her, she was having a bit of a tough time with this infection. And so whilst you're watching me mop this up, as soon as I see 3 in the top left, I'm going to come back to the video and explain appointment 3. So we've explained what the middle ear is. We've explained that we want the air pressure in the middle ear to be the same as the air pressure in the atmosphere. And when it's the same either side, that's when our eardrum is most mobile. That's when we hear the best. Now, what regulates the air pressure in the middle ear is a narrow